Times are difficult and times are tough in this nation today. But it's not time for us to sit on our hands. It's not time for us to give in or give up. It's time for us to help each other. It's time for us to lift each other. It's time for us to empower people so that they can indeed change their lives.
In 2011, as the National Urban League entered its second century of service, and as many of America's urban communities faced jobless rates as high as 20 and 40% among youth, the National Urban League declared war on unemployment.
End the war in Afghanistan, end the war in Iraq, and declare war on unemployment.
It began in January with the release of a 12-point plan for quality job creation, Jobs Rebuild America. The plan calls for bold action to put urban America back to work. It advocates for the expansion of small business lending, the establishment of green empowerment zones to incentivize environmental industries in low-income areas, and restoring the Summer Youth Jobs Program. Its message drew attention in special sections of both Time and Business Week, and President Mark Morial took it to the airwaves.
And what Congress should be focused on is on jobs and the need for there to be a national jobs plan. The nation needs a jobs plan. We have 14 million people out of work.
The National Urban League took the war on unemployment to America's heartland with jobs tours in Indiana, New England, and Ohio. Through job fairs and community forums, the movement involves citizens and local leaders in the conversation to put joblessness on retreat. Of particular concern is the level of unemployment among older workers. Today, people over 50 are the new face of unemployment. The National Urban League Mature Workers Program is serving almost 2,000 job seekers in 5 cities around the country, providing computer classes, resume and interview prep, and retraining opportunities. And the League's longest-running program, the Black Executive Exchange Program, continues to provide mentoring and preparation to students looking to be corporate leaders. It has impacted over 900,000 lives in its more than 40-year history. In March, job creation was also the focus of our legislative policy conference, and Roland Martin led a town hall at historic Howard University for the release of the 2011 State of Black America report, with contributions from First Lady Michelle Obama and Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick. As the war on unemployment continues, the National Urban League Policy Institute has been busy on the Hill advocating for the Urban Jobs Act that would offer educational programs, employment and job readiness activities, and support services. And the National Urban League is being heard in Washington.
Pass this bill, and hundreds of thousands of disadvantaged young people will have the hope and the dignity of a summer job next year.
The Policy Institute also released the report, The State of Urban Business 2011, U.S. Cities That Lead the Way, and found that of the top metro areas for Black-owned businesses, 5 included cities where the National Urban League operates entrepreneurship centers. In 2011, the Entrepreneurship Centers provided nearly 9,000 hours of individual counseling services and over 15,000 hours of business training to almost 6,500 clients. The efforts resulted in clients receiving approximately $12 million in new contracts and financing, creating or saving some 500 jobs. The National Urban League understands that the unemployment crisis has spillover effects, compounding problems in housing, in healthcare, and in education. So the National Urban League continued to work in those areas. At this year's annual conference in Boston, philanthropist and innovator Bill Gates sat down with professor and historian Dr. Henry Louis Gates to discuss the challenges and opportunities in U.S. education.
So let's end the myth that we have to solve poverty before we improve education. I'd say it's more the other way around. Improving education is the best way to solve poverty.
The conference also featured for the first time a Small Business Matters Entrepreneurship Summit. Featuring informative sessions and empowering speakers, the annual conference yielded nearly 3.5 million impressions via Facebook and Twitter. Getting connected is important for success today. So last fall, the National Urban League launched Project Ready Digital Connectors as part of the Broadband Opportunity Coalition. In this Training the Trainers program, students aged 14 to 21 learn technology skills in order to teach others in their communities. To date, more than 11,000 people have been trained by Urban League Digital Connectors. And Project Ready STEM programs in science, technology, engineering, and math are operating in Urban League affiliates across the country, engaging students and preparing them for the future. In September, the National Urban League took empowerment on the road and held the inaugural Urban League Empowerment Summit, a two-day one-stop housing and employment event in Atlanta. Featuring a career fair, a home rescue fair, and inspiring empowerment seminars, the summit drew 2,000 attendees. Nearly 1,000 people were served at the home rescue fair. Exit surveys found that 93% reported being satisfied or very satisfied with the service they received, and 78% were confident their actions at the fair may help prevent foreclosure. Clients from the Urban League of Greater Atlanta were on hand to share how the League's services aided them in these trying times.
They took their time and helped me go through the procedures that were necessary to get a home modification. I appreciate them and thank them. And I know that those that are in trouble, that need home modifications, that the Urban League stands ready, willing, and able to help.
Susan Taylor and Dr. Steve Perry and a host of other engaging speakers drew over 1,000 people to the empowerment seminars, inspiring hope and giving answers to those seeking help. The summit was preceded by the annual Whitney M. Young Jr. Leadership Conference. Urban League affiliates gathered for some world-class training and development in how to grow the capacity, effectiveness, and evaluation of their services. It has indeed been a busy year at the National Urban League, and the work continues. It remains steadfast in its call for job creation as its network of 98 affiliates work to empower communities and lift them up, one person at a time.